So let's back up for a second because I think one of the things that people forget about voice acting, and I'm going to say something that I'm going to get a little flack for, but a lot of people can do impressions. I think people think that voice acting is just impressions or being able to change your voice and or even match a voice, and that's a part of it to some degree. But I think people forget that there is a side of acting to it because the voice is what comes before the actual word acting. And so, what was this like for you having that background and having that theater and also having the directing experience and stage plays? Because I think that's what really brings out a character in a lot of ways. And I think that's
Yeah.
what people forget is a lot of the people in Funimation now, they were taking and getting, some of them have MFAs, some of them went to college for acting. And I think that's what people forget is that it's not just about, you know, can I make a funny voice? There is an acting component. So what was that like coming in? Because I think that's what is sort of where things are going with voice acting, and the way I see it as an outsider.
Right, right. Yeah, because of my route through the theater, it was a little different. Uh, the main thing that I was concerned about going into it was the protocols and such. And so I actually took a course. I didn't take a lot of voice training courses, but I did take a voice acting course, not a voice acting course, but just an introduction to voice acting course from Lambert Studios here in Texas. And they teach all the things about what not to do, like not grab the microphone, adjust it yourself, allow them to do it, and when to roll and how to talk and things like that. But as for the theater side, yeah, it was strange because I've always had this Rolodex in my mind of different characters. Usually actors do, but when you take on these roles of these characters, from what I do is I pretty much treat it just like I'm reading a script. The only confinement is I don't have the movement. And sometimes that happens in the booth. I'm in the crowded booth. It's sometimes no larger than like a phone booth, literally. And I've got to be running. And so to get that sound of running, I like to move my body, move my arms and everything. And sometimes I'll flail my arm and hit the mic and, oh crap, sorry, engineers. So that's kind of the hardest thing I had to overcome. But I always approach the role from an actor point of view. The directors have always been really good at giving you a synopsis of the scene and a little bit of the motivation behind it and what the goal is and everything like that. And depending on the director, they may say, yeah, just go for it. Let's see what you got. And I love that because that gives me the full theater thing. I can, if I fall back on a character that I think is like the one that I have, or and adjust a little bit for height or weight, what they look like, social status, things like that. Those are all the things that you learn in theater. How to carry yourself, because it really does affect how you project. If you're royal or such, or if you're just a vagabond or out there, those things come through your physicality, and so that helped me in the booth. I would get the situation, try to run it through my mind, throw out what I had, and either the director said, yeah, that's great, let's go for it. Or they would have in their mind what they wanted from the beginning before I even walked in the booth. And I'm good with that too. They'll say, yeah, that's great, but let's try it this way. And they'll even sometimes say it the way they want to hear it. And I'll try to match it as best possible. And they're like, oh yeah, that's great. It's like, no, make it a little bit more whiny or something like that, and that's fine too. So the director styles really are different. All of them are great. All the ones that I've worked with have been just phenomenal.